An F-35 fighter jet, one of the most advanced aerial platforms on Earth, costs well over $80 million. The missile it fires can cost another $1 million or more. The target? A drone costing $10,000, built with parts you could find online. This isn't some war game simulation. It's the new reality of war, and this completely absurd economic matchup is starting to break the bank for the world's most powerful militaries. For decades, the logic was simple. The country with the most advanced, most expensive jets owned the skies. That logic is now being picked apart, not by a rival superpower's stealth fighter, but by swarms of cheap, disposable, and shockingly lethal drones. This is the story of how a piece of technology you could almost build yourself is challenging the dominance of billion-dollar air forces. The basic idea that's been flipped on its head is called the cost-exchange ratio. For years, Western military thinking was built on a positive ratio. A missile worth $100,000 takes out a multi-million-dollar enemy tank or jet. That's a win. But what happens when the math is reversed? What happens when you're forced to fire a Patriot missile, which can cost around $4 million, to stop a drone made of plywood that costs less than a used car? This is the very essence of asymmetric warfare. Adversaries aren't trying to build a better fighter jet anymore. They're trying to make it financially impossible for you to defend yourself. They can launch dozens, even hundreds of these cheap drones, knowing that even if most are shot down, the cost to the defender is crippling. It's a strategy of bleeding an enemy dry, not with one big battle, but with 1,000 tiny cuts. They are weaponizing your own budget against you. The real threat isn't just the drone, it's the unsustainable price of stopping it. This isn't a bug, it's the entire point of this new era of warfare. The goal is to pile exponential costs onto high-tech defense systems, turning a nation's greatest strength, its advanced arsenal, into a massive economic liability. Now, when we hear drone swarm, our minds jump to science fiction, a single, self-aware hive mind of machines moving in perfect, terrifying sync. The reality on the battlefield today is a little more basic, but no less of a game changer. Most of what we're seeing are better described as coordinated mass attacks. This just means launching a huge number of drones at once, often from different places, to saturate and overwhelm air defenses. Think of it less like a swarm of bees and more like a carefully timed, multi-pronged assault just in the air. Each drone might be individually piloted or following a pre-programmed path, but their power comes from their numbers and timing. A step beyond this are semi-autonomous systems. Here, one human operator might manage a group of drones, assigning targets or directing the general flow of the attack, while the drone's own software handles the tricky stuff like navigation. This lets a single person control many drones at once. True autonomous swarms, where drones talk to each other, make group decisions, and adapt without a human telling them what to do, are the next big thing on the horizon. While that tech is developing fast, with some systems using AI to keep going, even if they're jammed, the most common and effective swarm today is still the mass attack. It's a brute force tactic meant to overload radar, drain missile supplies, and simply exhaust the people trying to defend against it. Nowhere is this new reality more brutally on display than in Ukraine. The conflict has become the most intense, real-world lab for drone warfare in history. What started with individual drones spotting for artillery has morphed into something that's changing the very structure of war. Both sides are now launching large-scale drone raids, sometimes involving hundreds of drones in a single night. These aren't just minor annoyances. They are strategic operations designed to hit every part of the military machine: logistics hubs, artillery, command posts, fuel depots, and critically, the air bases where those expensive jets are parked. Analysis suggests that the constant threat of drones has expanded the kill zone deep behind the front lines, where any movement can be hunted. The innovation is relentless. Ukraine is now producing drones at a massive scale, with official plans to build 7 million or more in 2026 alone. They are even developing their own interceptor drones to fight swarms with swarms. This brutal exchange rate, where a Ukrainian drone costing just a few $100s can take out Russian soldiers or equipment, is fundamentally rewriting the arithmetic of the war. One of the most stunning examples of this was Operation Spider's Web in June 2025. In this coordinated attack, Ukrainian forces used drones launched from inside Russian territory to strike 5 separate air bases simultaneously. According to U.S. officials and analysts, the attack destroyed or damaged dozens of high-value aircraft, including strategic bombers, on the ground. This wasn't about high-tech autonomy. It was a masterpiece of coordination, proving that low-cost systems can threaten a nation's most strategic assets hundreds or even thousands of miles from any front line. This isn't just happening in Eastern Europe. The same strategic playbook is being used ruthlessly across the Middle East. For years, Iranian-backed groups have used drones and missiles to probe and saturate sophisticated air defenses around military bases and critical infrastructure. These constant attacks serve as a stress test, forcing expensive defensive responses and revealing gaps in security. In a direct admission that the old ways are no longer enough, U.S. Central Command recently announced the creation of Task Force Falcon Strike. It's the first multinational force designed specifically to coordinate one-way attack drones across the air, sea, and even underwater. This initiative builds on its predecessor, Task Force Scorpion Strike, and shows that the Pentagon is shifting from just reacting to drone threats to proactively building its own integrated drone warfare capability with its allies. It's a clear sign that the future of conflict in the region will be defined by networks of cheap, unmanned systems. This shift is changing everything we thought we knew about military power. If you're finding this analysis of modern warfare valuable, take a second to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. Let's get back to our main question. How does a $10,000 drone actually beat an $80 million jet? It's crucial to understand this isn't about a drone winning a one-on-one dogfight. The victory is indirect. It's a win on economics, attrition, and strategy. First, there's the cost exchange ratio we've been talking about. Forcing an F-35 to burn fuel, flight hours, and a multi-million-dollar missile to down a cheap drone is a straightforward economic win for the attacker. Do that a few hundred times, and you've inflicted serious financial damage without ever landing a punch on a strategic target. Second, drones beat jets by hitting them where they live. An $80 million fighter is worthless if its runway is full of craters and its hangars are on fire. As Operation Spider's Web showed, a coordinated group of cheap drones can attack an airbase and destroy billions of dollars worth of aircraft on the ground. The U.S. Air Force itself has acknowledged its bases are vulnerable, with reports of over 350 unauthorized drone incursions over about 100 military installations in a single recent year. A fighter jet is never more vulnerable than when it's sitting on the tarmac, and drones are the perfect tool to exploit that weakness. Third, drones win by saturation. By flooding the sky with hundreds of targets, they can overwhelm the radar and command networks that pilots depend on. This can distract defenses from more serious threats like cruise missiles, or just create so much chaos that it's too dangerous for manned aircraft to operate safely. The drone swarm wins by denying the airspace to the more expensive jet. And finally, they win by making the battlefield transparent. The constant surveillance from countless small drones means large forces, like a squadron of jets getting ready for a mission, are spotted and targeted almost instantly. The simple presence of drones forces a change in tactics, making everyone on the ground more spread out, more cautious, and less effective. So, is the age of the fighter jet over? No, not entirely. Manned aircraft will still have a role for complex missions that demand human judgment and advanced sensors. But their era of uncontested dominance is finished. The future of air power isn't about one ultimate superweapon. It's about a complex, integrated network of systems, manned through jets working together with autonomous swarms, all backed by electronic warfare, satellites, and ground defenses. What we are seeing is one of the most fundamental shifts in military history. The paradigm has moved from a focus on the quality of single platforms to the quantity and networking of entire systems. The economics of war have been broken and rewritten, and it was all done by a technology that is cheap, accessible, and endlessly adaptable. The ultimate lesson is that in modern war, it's not always the side with the most advanced weapon that wins. It's the side that can most effectively mess with the enemy's strategy and bankrupt their ability to fight. And right now, the humble drone is proving to be the most disruptive weapon of the 21st century.